Rust Creek is a 2018 American independent crime thriller directed by Jed McGowan. It's about a young woman called Sawyer Scott, and she is in college. She has to drive through the Appalachian forest, and she gets lost and encounters some unsavory people. Without the best intentions, they become hostile for some reason, and she eventually needs to fight for her life. This movie is about her mainly getting captured in some way and her trying to escape. I really, really like this film. The beginning of this film, I hated. It was one of the longest openings ever. Like over credits, we see her driving, we see her in the library, and I'm just impatient and I just want them to get to the point. I don't really know what I'm watching. I went to this film pretty cold. Yeah, the beginning was underwhelming, but once she gets in trouble, this film does a great job of the villains are really interesting because they're kind of rednecks. I mean, they are rednecks. And there is this whole drug storyline where she's being held by someone that makes meth. That character and these characters, they're fleshed out pretty well. And this is less so a thriller, but almost more so a character study. And we actually learn a lot about the people in that area. And some of them we really, really sympathize with. Even the bad guys, there's just these little moments that humanize them. Like there's these two main brothers. They are one of the main antagonists. And they come under a lot of suspicion. And one of the officers is talking to the sheriff saying, why don't you examine these brothers? They're obviously trouble. And the sheriff says, I've been arresting them since they were kids. I know they're trouble, but they're not capable of this. And I thought there's a lot of moments like that where, yeah, these are bad people, but at the same time, we look at this area they grew up in and I guess the lack of opportunities. We just feel bad for them that this is the only thing they can do regarding drugs or crime. The lead character, she's played by Hermione Corfield. She's really, really good, and I actually want to credit the director to this. What makes this movie also very different is that it's a thriller captive movie made by a woman, and you could definitely tell it's different because this main character, she doesn't cry, she doesn't scream, and initially it felt kind of weird, but she has this quiet confidence that is refreshing. I don't know if it felt less realistic because I've just never seen it, or maybe this is more realistic because if you really are trying to survive, you need to keep composure. But I thought it was really cool because we don't get to see it. So I like how capable and calm she is. I think one of the weaker parts of this movie is that because she's so capable and strong, I think it lacks a little bit of character development. She definitely suffers a lot. I think overall it's a good portrayal. I was on board with her, but I also didn't really know her that well because she keeps to herself. She doesn't seem to have a very big flaw other than the fact that she's afraid of failure. And in the end, we get a little bit of clarity on maybe what this film was about for her. Okay, basically she's okay, right? She survives and she just continues walking forward, maybe with a little bit more confidence. But I would say the majority of the character development is done by one of the side characters, which is one of her main characters that doesn't turn out to be that bad of a dude. She kind of instills hope in him by her, I want to say, quiet confidence and general kindness. And yeah, this is a strange movie. It's not gonna give you that thrillery fix, or like it doesn't really go super hardcore into the thriller aspects of horror, but definitely not horror. But there are some scenes that I was just filled with tension, and it was great. They do a lot with, I think, a very, very simple premise, and there's just tons of scenes where you are on edge, and that's what I want from a thriller. I want to be on edge. Overall, I really liked it. It's on Netflix right now. It was one of the top 10 movies, and well, starting off, it's not going to seem that good, but I promise that it gets a lot better.